I'm not asking you about a pollster. I'm asking who won the election.
Biden was elected president.
Who won the 2020 election? That basic question triggers a heated Senate exchange with no easy answers.
Professor Epstein, who won the 2020 election?
You know, that's a political question. Obviously, in the Constitution, the determination of who won is delegated to the electors and is a vote in the House. I would also point out that throughout American history, there have been contestations of who've won.
I'm asking specifically who won the 2020 election, and I'm taking your non-answer to be consistent with everyone else who came in.
I'm not a pollster, but I will tell you this, that
I'm not asking you about a pollster. I'm asking who won the election.
Biden was elected president.
Okay. Did he win?
He won under the constitutional mechanisms we have to determine who's the president.
Was there a violent attack by people who did not believe that he won the election and it was stolen on the Capitol on January 6th?
I think that's in the record.
I'm asking you for a yes or no on that.
Based off the publicly available evidence, that appears to be what occurred.
Appears to be. Did you ever see any?
I was not there.
Did you watch any TV of mobs climbing the Capitol?
I read papers. I didn't watch television.
All right.
I actually don't own a television.
Well, I admire your skepticism. Mr. Clark, who won the 2020 election?
Joe Biden received the necessary number of electoral college votes, and then in joint session, Congress certified those results.
All right. So you were promoting efforts to to raise questions about the electors in states, despite the fact that Attorney General Barr said there was no evidence to indicate fraud on any level that would come close to resulting in a reversal of the election. Is that correct?
Senator Welch, with all due respect, lawyers disagree with each other. That may be news to you, but we frequently
I understand. And you disagree with Attorney General Barr?
Yes, and Attorney General Barr actually supported me in my Barr proceeding. So he can disagree with me about one issue and agree with me about others.
Let's stay on the question asked. I'm glad you're good friends with Attorney General Barr. You said you followed procedures at the Justice Department. Attorney General Rosen, an acting deputy AG, said that you contacted the president without informing them that you were going to do that?
The president contacted me, and under Article 2, which is the ultimate procedure, Senator, the president can contact any member of the executive branch.
And you did not report that to your superiors?
I did speak to Jeff Rosen about that on the Saturday after it happened.
All right. And the president, as you know, was fishing around for somebody who would be willing to take his bogus case, and you did. So thank you for that.
The case was not bogus.
You disagree with Attorney General Barr?
Yes.
All right. The claim here, Mr. Schwager, is that this is a bogus. By the way, were crimes committed on January 6th by the mob who attacked the Capitol?
There were crimes that were committed by some members of the people who protested that day. Yes.
Do you believe that that it was a crime for people to attack officers and hit them pull their helmets off, to attack them with sticks and mace and bear spray?
Police officers should not be assaulted. That is criminal. I would say that I don't believe that anyone in D.C. with a 94% jury pool got a fair trial. And that's why President Trump rightly pardoned them.
94%?
Yes.
Are you saying the people of D.C. have no capacity to make a determination based on the evidence about criminal conduct that may have been committed?
I think they can when we're not talking about something that's politically hypercharged and something that the media tries to drum in as a narrative. But when politics are at stake, I don't think so.
What are you thinking about the attacks on these officers who were standing between the mob and Nancy Pelosi or Vice President Pence and stood their ground and did their job? And there was evidence that was presented in court, and people who committed those crimes were convicted. And you're saying they were rightly pardoned because it was a bogus trial?
If you don't get due process, that is one of the mechanisms in the Constitution to ensure that people get justice, Senator.
Right. Mr. Schwager, just the premise here is that it was a bogus investigation. and all of the things that are part of a normal investigation, subpoenas, making links, having a wide investigatory outreach. Is there anything different about this investigation and what would be a thorough investigation of any other crime once there is a predicate for pursuing an investigation?
Well, I think the alleged crime is historic in nature. However, the tools used in the investigation are common to complex matters.
Thank you. I yield back.
What you're watching in this exchange is a classic Washington moment where a simple factual question, who won the 2020 election, turns into a legal and political test of language, accountability, and how institutions respond when democracy itself becomes the subject of dispute. At the center of Senator Peter Welch's questioning is a basic but intentional line of inquiry. He repeatedly asks witnesses to state clearly who won the 2020 presidential election. And what stands out is not just the answers, but the hesitation around giving a direct response. One witness initially frames it as a political question, another redirects to constitutional processes like electors and certification, and only after continued pressing does the straightforward acknowledgement come through. Joe Biden received the necessary electoral votes and was certified as president. From a Democratic perspective, the importance here isn't about scoring political points. It's about clarity in democratic legitimacy. Elections are not abstract debates or open-ended interpretations. They're settled through votes, certifications, and legal processes. So when a witness avoids a direct answer, even while ultimately describing the process correctly, it raises a broader concern about whether there is reluctance in parts of the system to affirm a settled outcome. The exchange then moves into January 6, where Welch asks whether there was a violent attack on the Capitol by individuals who believed the election was stolen. The witness responds cautiously, saying that based on public evidence, that appears to be what occurred. That careful phrasing reflects a recurring theme in modern political testimony. People often hedge even on widely documented events, especially when they are politically sensitive. What follows is a deeper tension between law, interpretation, and political framing. When discussing Attorney General Barr and claims of election fraud, the witness notes that lawyers can disagree, emphasizing professional differences rather than absolute conclusions. This is important because it highlights how legal arguments can exist in parallel with political narratives, even when courts and officials have found no evidence of widespread fraud that would change the election outcome.